once speaking with a old and very great, even famous Yerushalmi Talmid Chacham, and we were discussing one of the great promoters and builders of Yiddishkeit in our generation. And I compared his amazing efforts, which we were both so appreciative of, to that of the Ponevezher Rav. I said he was reminiscent, I thought, after knowing both a little and studying both, he was reminiscent of the Ponevezher Rav. This Talmid Chacham turned to me and said, no comparison. The otzma, the strength, the power of the Ponevezher Rav was something on a whole different level. Yosef Shlomo Kahneman was born in Lita, Lithuania, in 1883, Tafresh Mem Vav. He rose to greatness in the Telz Yeshiva. He received smicha from no less than the Aruch HaShulchan. In fact, it says when he was 14, he spent some time with the famed Leshem, one of the great Mekubalim, and he learned even a little bit of Kabbalah at that time. He says when he used to go back home from learning with the Leshem, he didn't see trees, he didn't see bushes. All he saw was spheres and malachim. He made it to Radin, the yeshiva. The Chavetz Chaim is a chavrusa of the famed Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, and was a devoted Talmud all of his days to the Chavetz Chaim. We'll talk more about that. And his devotion afterwards to the Chazon Ish, who may have even been younger than him, but he considered the Chazon Ish a Rebbe of his also. He became the Rav in Ponevezh, which was an established and very important rabbinic post. You can just talk about who was the Rabbanim in Ponevezh before that. I believe the one right beforehand was the Rav Itzla Ponevezher, which was the only person who's spoken about in the yeshiva world as being on a similar level in terms of his shurim of that time to Reb Chaim Soloveitchik, Rav Itzla Ponevezh, the Zecher Yitzchak, and before that had been the famed Aderet, Elio David Rabinovich to Umim, who became the Rav in Yerushalayim. Rav Kook's father-in-law was very, very great. So you can a little bit get a feel for his Gadlut b'Torah, his greatness in Torah, if he was a Rav, where these people had been a Rav. And he opened the yeshiva, one of the finer yeshivas in Europe, Ponevezh, which was totally destroyed and decimated like so many in the Holocaust. He also lost his family in the Holocaust. And then a whole new chapter. And after being one of the Manhigei Yadus, one of those who led the ship and steered the ship, even back in Europe pre-war, but then he went to rebuild. And that's where he's most remembered in Eretz Yisrael for all that he built, not just the Ponevezh Yeshiva, of course, which was a coming to life of his yeshiva that had been destroyed, starting with only 6 Talmidim, one Rav Chaim Friedlander, Rav Gershon Edelstein, the current Rosh Yeshiva, he should live and be well, Rav Yaakov Edelstein, the famed Rav of Ramat HaSharon, and 3 others, I can't remember their names. From there, turning into one of the greatest of all the yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael. But it went a lot further than that, because from his Talmidim and his Talmidim, there are those that argue that Rov of the Lithuanian yeshiva world in Eretz Yisrael was really from his work. But it wasn't just that. It didn't stop with that. He built Bate Yaakov and orphanages, and he was just unstoppable. He created the Yarchei Kala. He wasn't just thinking about the normal Avrechim, but for working people, he wanted them to have yeshiva experience. And that was called the Yarchei Kala. In the summer, they would come, and as much as he was so busy fundraising, he left the yeshiva to others to run. When he came to the Yarchei Kala, he was the Rosh Yeshiva, and he wanted the working man to have a yeshiva experience once a year with excellent shiurim, which he himself was on top of. He was a builder, an amazing Torah builder. He built with visions, he built with dreams, with a keen historical sense, which is going to be a very interesting thing for us to study and look at, a keen historical sense, with unbounded Mesiras Nefesh, sacrificing himself, and mostly with an overwhelming Avas Hashem, and Avas HaTorah, and Avas Eretz Yisrael, and Avas Yisrael. And it's really a schus to spend now a good bunch of weeks going into his life, looking and trying to understand him and what he built, and getting a better picture of this extremely great man.